But before we go there, we are going to stick with the NBA. And one of the bigger stories coming out of yesterday's games, you had 2 game ones in the second round. Milwaukee beat Boston in Boston to take home court advantage away from them.
That was quick.
And Golden State beat Memphis to take home court advantage away from them. That game was at Memphis. And Draymond Green missed the bulk of the game, was ejected late in the second quarter for what was determined a flagrant 2 foul on Brandon Clark. And Draymond is maintaining his innocence, so to speak. He thinks that it shouldn't have been a flagrant 2, which is an automatic ejection. Here's Draymond talking about it.
The playoffs are a little tougher and not as soft as the regular season, and that you can bump a little more and you get away with a little more. Like I think tonight was probably a reputation thing more so than a hard foul. By definition, if we go through the definition of a flagrant 2 foul, I'm not sure that play would quite be the definition of a flagrant foul. I'm not sure it would meet that criteria.
I'm sure.
Everybody's sure in these United States. Stop it, Draymond. My goodness. Chris, why? Why can't you for once just accept that you did something dumb? Your team needs you. You probably already cost them a championship. Stop it. You're too good of a player, Draymond. Cut it out. You've been around too long. You're not a kid anymore. Chris, why? Why are we still doing this?
I'm with you. Look, the definition of a flagrant 2 is unnecessary and excessive contact.
Period.
First of all, and a lot of people might not have caught it because it was quick, Rob. It was hard to, see immediately. But I watched this thing several times, slowed down the video, stopped the video at the right time to see. Draymond slapped Brandon Clark. Hauled off and slapped him. The referees called it a wind-up. I don't know if he was, I'm sure his defense is he was going for the ball, but I don't know. It looked like he just straight up slapped him. And at the end of the day, that's what he did, whether he was going for the ball or not. Slapped him in the face and then grabbed his jersey. Now, Draymond Rob is saying his hand got caught in the jersey. So yeah, what? Okay. First of all, I don't believe that, right? Because it looked like he grabbed the jersey, was holding it, and pulled it down.
Was he wearing
pulled him down?
Was he wearing those NFL Stickum gloves, Chris? Is that
that's what it looked like? Because it didn't look like. Come on, you got stuck in the.
You got stuck in the jersey.
Draymond.
What do you got? Fingernails? Like stop.
Right. Come on, man. So he deserved the ejection. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And Rob, a lot of NBA players, Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson on the broadcast, they defended him. I don't know what you're watching.
Right.
In today's NBA, that is a flagrant 2, period.
This is not the 90s Jeff Van Gundy when you're on the leg of Patrick Ewing or
right.
or who was that? Alonzo Mourning. He's riding the leg. Go watch that video on YouTube.
Like a chihuahua.
Right. He's on the leg of Alonzo Mourning like crazy. This is not the 90s or early 2000s. It's not.
Yeah. And the other thing, Rob, is that Draymond said it's a reputation thing. Well, I think the play in and of itself in a vacuum was deserving of the flagrant 2. But if the reputation comes in, well, that's life. Rob, if next season Kyrie Irving takes a week off for personal reasons, people are going to be skeptical. If LeBron James does it, people will be like, okay, there's something going on. He really needed the time off. If Kyrie does it, we're going to wonder.
Right.
Why? Because of his reputation. Past actions and behaviors in every realm of life determine how people view you going forward and the actions that you take.
People me, they love me, so they're going to give me the benefit of the doubt. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, Rob, if I got kids, and I do have kids, and they weren't in this situation, but let's say they were. Let's say one of them was a chronic liar.
Right. You already know. You know your kids, Chris, don't you? You know your kids.
And she tells me something, I'm gonna look at it differently than if the other one tells me the same thing
and
doesn't
truthful,
have a history of lying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll be like,
come on, man.
You know what? Daughter B, she never lies to me. I'm gonna believe what she's saying.
Right. So
I don't want
that's
to name
life.
your daughters. You know what I mean?
No, and they weren't. Thankfully, they weren't in that boat. But I'm just using it as an example. But here's the real damaging thing, and I think Draymond was hoping that the league would make it a flagrant 1. They didn't, and which I think is right. They kept it as a flagrant 2. Rob, that means he's got 2 points in the postseason.
Right.
If he gets 4, which means 1 more flagrant 2 foul, he'll have to miss a game in the playoffs. That's huge. What if they play Phoenix in the next round? Or whoever they play. But let's say it's Phoenix. Obviously, that'd be a tough, hard-fought series. If he missed the game, that's huge.
I mean, when they lost to the 3-1 choke, everybody points to that Game 5 he had to miss. Remember when he kicked LeBron or whatever it was in the groin? Remember that?
Rob, as much credit as I give, it was LeBron. But he had an accumulation. It wasn't the act. It wasn't that one act. It was the accumulation of points that got him suspended over the course of those playoffs. And Rob, as much as I credit Cleveland and LeBron James for coming back and winning that series, I don't think they would have done it if Draymond wasn't suspended. Because, again, I was there. I was covering that thing. And when Draymond was suspended, first of all, Rob, because I was at all the practices and the press conferences and everything, it was almost palpable, the feeling of hope that the Cavs had that Draymond would miss the game. And then when it was announced that he would miss it, it was there was just this real strong feeling that, hold up, it was like it gave them hope. They had lost 3 of the first 4 games. That's tough to have hope when that's the situation. And all of a sudden, their best defender, one of their top players, their inspirational leader, he's out. Now, all of a sudden, that was a momentum boost, and the rest is history. And, Rob, you said it earlier, that likely cost Golden State a championship. Now, had they won that, they probably don't get Kevin Durant, and then maybe they don't win those 2. But who knows? Maybe they do win another one or 2.
But it's hard not to look at that and think that he didn't, in some way, Chris, change the course of their history by having the actions that he's had.
Absolutely.
And in this case here, I mean, they're fortunate they won and they were able to come away with a victory. But it's not something you want. And now you're in jeopardy that anything you do, Chris,
right?
That's the worst part. It's not you got through with this one game, but now if there's anything shady, anything questionable, Chris, you might get called for it.
And he is who he is. He's volatile, Rob, and you love that about him, right? A lot of times, a person's greatest strength is also their greatest weakness. So you love the volatility, the energy, the fight, all that, but it can also come back to hurt you. And Rob, he ain't changing. If he didn't change after they cost them a finals,
right?
He didn't change after it cost them a championship. He ain't about to change. He didn't change after it cost them Kevin Durant, arguably.
Yep.
When he went off on Durant on the sidelines, right? That may have pushed Durant over the edge.
Exactly. And he was busy reciting his resume saying why he won't change and 4-time All-Star, and I got a Defensive Player of the Year award and 3 championships. Why would I change? Blah, 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 blah. Dude, because you mature as you get older, Chris.
Thank you.
And you become a veteran, and you're not going to hurt your team. That's where you mature as a player. They need you. And
Rob,
that's what he doesn't get.
I'm guessing at 54, you are a lot more volatile than you are now with your
Are you
lack of
kidding
energy
me?
at 58.
Chris, how many times I'm going to get suspended and run out of... Chris, are you kidding?
But
Dude,
right, when you were younger?
When I was a younger writer and broadcaster, there was no holds barred.
Well, it was a different
Right,
America,
it was
too.
different, but you know what I'm saying. And now, as I'm older, my hair's gray, whatnot. A little different. I'm
But
not now.
that's
I haven't
people
packed
do-
it in.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There are
Right.
guys who have packed it in. I haven't packed it in. But I pick my spots. There are times, Chris, when you might want to push the envelope, Alex, and then there's other times when you don't want to do it. You don't know how many times on this show I have a thought and I just swallow it.
Well, I don't know if that's age. I don't think that's age, Rob. I think that's just you knowing that won't fly nowadays. I bet you probably get 3 thoughts per segment.
Man, sometimes you're like, oh, here we go. It went there already. Can't help it.
No, but look, Draymond, Rob and I both agree he deserved it. What is the controversy? I mean, really, like what? He was on TNT tonight, Rob. Like he's not doing himself.
That's what
right.
He's
He's
doing,
not,
right.
and I don't know. I had the volume down. Rob G said he had the volume down too, so I couldn't hear it. But my guess is he was up there defending himself. And let it go, Draymond. Like, Rob, here's the final kicker was the way he left the court. And they threw this up on TNT, so I don't want to act like I'm trying to steal it from them. But my thought when he did what he did with the way he left the court, dancing, waving at the crowd, all that, running around the whole court, it reminded me of Antonio Brown.
Right.
Only thing he didn't do was take off his jersey.
Thank goodness. And throw it into the crowd.
Yeah. I mean, it was the same thing. It's a bad look, man. Come on. Accept it, let it go, and move on. And this is going to be a big story, Rob, going forward. Number one, look, I think they're going to beat Memphis. That's your team. I know you picked them in the West. I think they're young. They made some young mistakes in game one.
They gave away a game there, yeah.
I don't think they gave it away, but I just think they make, they're a young team, and they make mistakes. They made mistakes against Minnesota. Minnesota just made more. But I think they'll learn from it and be a better team in the future because of it. But, they are a tough matchup for Golden State, so they'll need Draymond in this series. But in the next series, I'm assuming they're going to win. They're going to definitely need him. And then, of course, you got the finals if they were to get there. So
I think Draymond will come back and do something dumb. I do. Because I just...
all he needs is one. You would think so.
No, right. But the way he's responding, rather than just saying, just let it go. You just said it, Chris. Let it go, all right? That was... I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt my team, blah, 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 and get there. Yeah.